Hey, yeah, no, I saw a few people like waiting for the live stream to start, and I thought, you know what'll get them to stick around? Screaming. But also, because I posted that video about seeing the dissociation specialist, and I think I don't know, one guy posted a comment that I was a bit like, hey! Yeah, he seems to have, replied and said I've misunderstood what he was saying, but I was just a bit like, you can't tell me what my shit is about when, if you're not my psychologist or anyone treating me. I understand the basic idea though, because there's a lot of like DID stuff on YouTube that's, kind of dodgy, but that's not what my video was about. And yeah, anyway, so get out there with some rah-rah. Although the song You Won't, the lyrics, you won't change me and blah, 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 that was from my asexuality EP. So I did that for my, my master's, my final semester project. Because I got sick of art. I thought I'll go back to music. And the professor's like, okay. Yeah, and, because universities tend to be left-leaning, I thought I'll do asexuality and I'll just vent some of my things over that. Because, yeah, I've had a lot of people tell me I can't have that either, and it just seems to be a thing about the internet, is people telling me what I can't have or can't be, and basically, I'm just whatever I am. And yeah, I'm still having my tea. I suppose, before I really get into stuff, I should mention, for those of you who haven't got a shirt yet, I think those of you who've turned up so far already have, but, yeah, my merch. Will the bot actually give us the right link this time? I just changed it, so I don't know if it's filtered through. Yeah, there we go! And so, yeah, US $5 discount until the end of November. Then after that, I'm putting the prices back to what they say it should be. This is my Face Myself's artwork. This is this shirt I wore to see the dissociation specialist. Got it on Friday, awesome! Yeah. So I'm still waiting for my women's one, but I got the unisex shirt and pretty happy with how it's turned out. I've washed it twice now and it's still looking nice, so that's one less anxiety, because I always worry about these things, how long is the print gonna last? Yeah, and it's still looking good. Anyway, yeah, so I made this artwork 13 years ago and it's still relevant, and it's about time I got on a shirt, so that's the thing. Okay, so how has my day been? Oh my god. I'm doing better now. Last night I was in a real spiral, and then this morning I was still not feeling great. But I filmed 3 videos today, and they're all fashion related in some way, I guess, and so I was much more in that fashion filming state of mind. You know how I've mentioned, across different situations, I just go into different modes. So I was in that sort of fashion video making mode, and one of them in particular, I got an early Christmas present, and so by the end of that video I was doing a lot better. So yeah, it just sort of helped. I still clearly have some issues. I was, last night just not doing well, so. But I made it through the day. I still have to edit these videos, so that'll go for the next 3 days, and yeah, I don't know. I know a few people are interested in my mental health story, there's a few subscribers. The most recent subscriber, what is this? Luscious Duncan in the this little thing. Hello, interesting names that people have. But yeah, no, I know some people have subscribed and want to hear more about my mental health stuff, but for now I think I just needed the break from talking about my issues. Also, I don't really know what to talk about next, because there was this whole build-up of drama, and now I'm not sure that I know what to do with myself until I see my regular psychologist and find out what the letter from the dissociation specialist says and what should I do. So yeah, I guess that's my day so far. Now there were, again, no one using the form for this stream again, so I don't know, maybe I need to check that the form's actually working, or maybe just people aren't that, don't have much to ask about. How is the stream quality going? Stream health. Stream is healthy! Okay, cool. Yeah, let me know if any issues come up. I did have a little bit of a fight with it, because I had used OBS to do some vlog filming a little while ago, and it got a little bit messed up because, you know, like so when I'm looking at it, I have like chat on one side and activity feed on the other side, and one of them was just refreshing a lot and it was really distracting, so I had to hide the little sidebars, and then trying to get them back for this live stream took me a little while, and yeah, I guess because I was filming stuff and then having some lunch and then walking my dog, it was a bit of a last minute scramble. Yeah, got my Bunny I'm pretending to care shirt on. I guess that was another one for people who want to tell me about my own psychology. Yes, tell me more, as if you're qualified. But yeah, no, I'm sorry, I haven't gotten around to properly reading his comment or answering it. So I'll get around to that after the stream, I guess. I don't know if he's going to pop up. I don't even know if it's a he, actually, now that I mention it. But yeah, I'll get around to that. If you're watching, I'll get around to it, and sort of figure out what I guess, like, what bothers me is, like, this person is saying they did watch the video, but some of the things that they're telling me, I already addressed in the video, so I don't know what the problem is. It's another really windy day in Sydney, so I think my nose will probably go out again. Oh, hay fever. Wow, and there's just like a lot of stuff flying around, and I think it's going to be windy again tomorrow. So it's like 3 days. Ugh. It's a bit much. Yeah, so what's happening? What should I talk about? Because I didn't get any questions. What else is going on in my life? I don't know. I mean, I guess I feel like I've said the main things I needed to say. For the moment, you know, in the video I posted yesterday was about seeing the dissociation specialist. There were a few things that I didn't cover in that video, but I think I've already forgotten what they were. I'm sure it'll come to me later. I think, yeah, I had a lot of anxiety, so I talked to my friend who, you know, has almost finished a clinical psychology degree, you know, talked about some stuff and some of my anxieties, and she raised some good points as well that, I think, you know, trying to think about how glass child trauma could contribute to dissociation and things like that, and, you know, in terms of feeling like I have another self, you know, to me it doesn't seem linked to that, but she pointed out that it doesn't have to be, because the thing that's important is that you have the dissociation early in life, and then later in life, you know, you're still using that coping mechanism, so anything new that pops up doesn't necessarily have to be related to the original trauma. It's just that your brain has to develop that skill, I guess. I think that's what she meant, and like I have heard that elsewhere, so yeah, I guess it doesn't have to tie into the original thing, but then that raises the question of what does cause it, because I still haven't figured that one out. You know, I mean, I guess I grew up in that era where it was still socially acceptable to give your kids a whack. So yeah, I did have that sort of an upbringing along with the glass child stuff. But I don't think, like, I don't know. I was still thinking about that. I feel like that's not enough either. And then, what was the other thing? Sorry, I just had a thought and forgot about it. Something to do with trauma. Glass child. Oh, yeah, no, I finally looked up, like, specifically childhood attachment trauma. So I think glass child is a subset of that. And, like, the first thing that I Googled mentioned dissociation at, like, the start of the list. It was, like, dissociation, depression, PTSD. I was not ready to see that as, like, one of the top things they were going to mention. You know, I would have thought depression. Depression makes sense. I guess I've known I've had depression for a really long time. Oh my god. That's the other thing I wonder is these people who are discovering my channel now, how old do they think I am? Because I know I did mention, I'm pretty sure I mentioned in that video yesterday. I don't know, I filmed it on Saturday, so I don't entirely remember. But I'm pretty sure I mentioned my age in that. But I guess if they didn't get to that point in the video, they probably still think I'm a kid or something. There's so many people who think I'm younger than I am, and I don't know why that is. Maybe, I mean, I guess, like, as an Australian, I don't go out in the sun as much as other Aussies, so there's that. Maybe my skin is a bit different. I don't wear makeup unless I'm doing my eye makeup, but I have to be in a particular mood or dressing up for a real reason for that. The half Japanese thing probably confuses the sense of age, because I still look white, but there's the Asian elements in there, probably throwing people off. And then I guess just because I don't act like a normal adult, you know, maybe that's making it harder for people to figure what my age I am, but I'm pretty old. And I think that's one of the things I was spiraling a bit last night, is just like, I'm so old and I'm only just figuring out some of the issues. Like this year, like, you know, I feel like I've finally made some proper progress in terms of understanding myself, but I don't feel like I've made progress in terms of fixing my life. And I feel like it's going to be very hard to fix my life. And I think I'm bothered by the fact that, yes, I talked to the dissociation specialist and she cleared some stuff up for me, but I don't have a plan. You know, I think I won't really get a plan of any kind until I talk to my regular psychologist in a couple weeks. So, I don't like not knowing, you know, what's coming next. Like, what do I do next? Okay, great, now I know some of the stuff that I'm dealing with. What now? You know? Okay. Alright, I'm done with the tea. I'll try and concentrate a bit more now. But yeah, no, if anyone wants to jump in with a question or something to ramble on, go for it, because I didn't have any plans. I think when I originally scheduled, how American am I as an Aussie? When I originally set up this live stream, I don't even have to say it, when I originally set up this live stream, I think I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make the video that I posted yesterday, because, you know, as you can see, I filmed it at the studio, and I don't always have the studio to myself, so yeah, I managed to squeeze that in. So yeah, my original plan was to talk about some of that stuff, but since I already made the video, I don't need to, unless anyone has a particular question about it. But yeah, no, it was an interesting experience, I gotta say, because, yeah, the way that she talked to me was different to other psychologists, and, sorry, it's a bit distracting, I'm just gonna close my door a bit more, and of course I'm sure Hope will come along and scratch, and I'll have to let him in again, but, yeah, no, maybe I'm making more progress in terms of understanding myself this year, because I finally did open up about some of the stuff that goes on in my head. Oh god, here we go with these, I've got to get on the other thing to report the scammer. Where's the, you know, like, YouTube should really be able to get rid of these things, but, what do I say? Report that. Hide user on my channel. Sorry, let me just report this bot. And one more. It's like weird that they always do 3 messages. I wonder if that's to try and like get noticed more or whatever. So I think I got them all. It's just taking a while to update on my end. And of course now it's stuck on this thing. Nope. Can't remove it from here. Okay. Oh, hang on. Hey, I still watch your cover of This Fire Burns. Think it's really awesome. Amazing voice. Have you seen them live? Random, I know, sorry. No, I haven't seen them live. And, you know, I haven't seen any music in a while. I think this year the only gig I went to was the one that I did. I'll get you a link for it. Wow, I'm a bit slow trying to find my stuff. What was it called? Okay, here it is. Copy the link. Here we go. Oops. Send. Send? Okay. Yeah, so the only gig that I did today was the one that I performed in. You can see the link on the screen down there now. Ignore the bot. Dear oh dear, I wonder if I can blur it later somehow, or... it's too much effort. Yeah, because towards the end of last year I was going to more gigs with a friend, but There was one I went to that was like a symphonic metal kind of one, and I just felt really sad afterwards because I've been trying so hard to find a band and I just can't find the right fit. So yeah, so that was I was singing while my friend was doing aerials. She asked me to like come on board for that performance because they never had a live singer before. We're doing one of my songs, so the song is called The Truth. That's on my Bandcamp. I'll give you the link. So here's the link to my Bandcamp. And, you know, finally gave me the push to release the song. Yeah, so that was really interesting. And that's the biggest venue I've ever played at as well. Been a guitarist for 11 years and still don't have a band. Oh, yeah. So like I've had a few bands, but the last proper band I was in was my girl band, Rainbow Death Ray. That's out there too if you want to have a look. Let me look it up. Rainbow Death Ray. So we were like a girl band, so mixing metal and like industrial electronic elements, but yep. We only recorded our softer songs though. We didn't record the heavier ones. I still think sometimes about releasing a demo, but I need to go back and reconstruct pieces of it. So yeah, I'm not sure, and it's not a priority for me. I've sort of moved on, and that was at a very odd time in my life. I was on antidepressants, so I think that you can probably tell in the music, to be honest. But also, yeah, writing music never really came naturally to me, and that EP that I've linked down this way, that EP is all the songs that I wrote. There are a few other songs I wrote, but yeah, everything on that was my own stuff. And yeah, it's just like, you know, trying to write guitar for me, I'm not good at writing guitar because I don't play guitar, so it's hard for me to come up with stuff, and it was very kind of simplistic. Like, it's all power chords, I'm sure you can hear in it. You know, chugga, 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 very easy stuff. And then, of course, you know, I had my guitarist doing solos, but the way that she recorded the solos, I like got her to record a small bit and then like chopped it all up because she hadn't written one properly by the time we were doing all that. So yeah, that didn't really go smoothly at all. But anyway, yeah, that was my last proper band. But because I was the main person and everyone else in the band was inexperienced, they hadn't really been in a band before, whereas I had been in another band called Wintergaunt, sort of progressive death metal. That's where I really got my growling going. Music is mayhem, oh god. And it's like being in a, you know, huge relationship with people, and I'm not a relationship person as it is, so you're dealing with all these people, and you know, because I was the most experienced person in the band and it was mostly my songs and I have a particular way of how I do things, I just took on too much. You know, I was writing the music, programming the music because we didn't have a drummer. I was organising the merch. I was also playing violin in that band. Organising merch, organising gigs, running my own gigs, being our recording engineer for the EP. We did get it mixed and mastered with, you know, not me, but so like the studio I interned at. Yeah, doing the graphic design was what I was doing as well. Like, I was just doing way too much and I burned out. That's quite a... Remember, for the band responsibilities. Yeah, I did a lot. I really overdid it. Because, like, I guess, you know, when I started that band, I was on antidepressants. Uh-oh, here comes my doggo. I told you he was gonna come. Hopey. You coming in? Yeah, here you are. Come and say hello to everyone. I know that's not what you want to do. Mwah. Yes. Yeah, hello. This is my little baby. Oh, door. Hey. Yeah, anyway, I was doing so much, and I burned out pretty badly. I've got ADHD, which I found out last year. Finally, I can't finish project I do. Programming, everything is so intense. Yeah, it was just a particular time in my life. I was also more, here we go with the dissociation stuff. I was more like trying to work with the other parts of me, and it just didn't go well. But it did help me get a lot done. I really burned out. I think actually that other part of me that's when it disappeared, was towards the end of that whole process. Then my grandparents died, so my grandma died first, and then later, a few months later, my grandpa died, and I just, I was doing all this work, plus I had a part-time job, which is the closest job I've ever gotten to full-time. Like, I was there 5 days a week. I just didn't have to get in first thing in the morning because I was fast enough at my job that, like, they didn't have enough work for me in the morning, so I got paid the same as full-time. I just didn't have to be there. So, yeah, I was doing that. So, like, I had a day job, then at night I'd come home and do the music, and I just had nothing left to deal with, my grandparents passing away and all the existential stuff that came with that. The thing I remember more about that is not the grief, it's actually more thinking about life and death and, the existential stuff that I've had for a long time, and I was just in a job that I didn't like, and, sorry, there's a lot of noise this time of day, it's distracting. I was in a job that, just wasn't for me. I was in the mailroom posting fabric samples all around Australia, some to New Zealand as well, and there was nowhere for me to go in that job either. Like, I was just stuck there, and it was too much. So when everything like hit in my life all at once, I just couldn't cope, and overdoing it with the band, burnout. That's something I've been trying to avoid. So, like, I probably could start a new band, but it needs to be with the right people, making the right music, and I need to find, at the minimum, someone who can write the music that I like, that suits my voice, and who I can get along with. Because, writing is the hardest part for me. I can do all the business side of music, but the writing stuff stresses me out the most. And I need, people who know what to do, who can contribute. My girls did try and help me, but they were, just not experienced. It was easier for me to just do stuff rather than hand out jobs. I know I should have handed out more jobs, but I didn't. So if I do another band, I'm determined not to let that happen again. And that's one of the things that's holding me back from having a new band, is I don't want to start one from scratch unless I know the people are right. And I can't find an established band because no one understands my voice. So, where am I up to? Have you been on Schizoid Angst? Yeah, I know Schizoid Angst. I don't really watch a lot of his stuff. We've been in contact, though, a little bit. But he's a bit too intense in the whole schizoid thing for me. So, he's been supportive. And, when I've had my little, outbursts of, too much schizoid stuff, he's backed off. So that's nice. But, So I'm aware that his channel exists, and for those of you who are only interested in schizoid stuff, as far as I'm aware, his whole channel is about schizoid. That's a lot to manage on your own. It was rough. Anyway, so I don't know. I could never focus on just one thing in my channel. I think those of you who've been following me for a little will notice that, lately I've been on the sort of mental health vlog thing quite a lot because that's been what's been happening in my life. But, when I was doing the Punk Rave Australia videos, so doing a lot of fashion videos, and then I want to get back into doing more music covers. I just haven't really sat down to do it. I've been a bit disconnected from the music part of me. Then you just want to be a guitarist. You're expected to do everything yourself nowadays, and it's never anything. Yeah, well, see, the thing is, if you really want to be in a band, the only way to do it is to start it yourself, because there's so many useless people out there who just won't, and so, to find someone else starting a band and then audition and get in, that's tough. So that was one of the reasons I started the girl band. Also at the time, I'd had a lot of guys, not let me audition just for being a chick. And I realized, I was at uni at the time, music school, and I realized I knew a lot of, a whole band's worth of chicks who I could have in a metal band. The funny thing is, none of them ended up in the final lineup. Everyone changed as the band developed before we launched. But that's sort of what made me think, fuck it, I'll just start a girl band, take out the pressure of guys not wanting me for being a chick, take out the pressure of finding something, just do it myself. That's the only way to do it. But with one of the things with that, because I was doing so much, I eventually realized that solo music, I can do everything except play guitar. So if I just do solo music, make it electronic, I don't need anyone. But the problem with that is it's harder to self-motivate. I do have a strong sense of duty. Maybe that comes from being a glass child, you know, having a disabled sibling. But yeah, so if I get into a group and I have a specific job, I don't want to let down the team. So having a band sort of forces me to actually get stuff done, whereas being a soloist, not so much. I need to watch more of your videos. Oh, thank you. Awesome personality. One of the best guitarists I played with was a chick. Well, yeah, I've been trying to do some stuff with a friend. She's a really amazing guitarist. It's a bit slow going because we've both been kind of busy and neither of us is that confident with writing music, and especially me with guitar music because I can't play guitar. So I sent her this really horrible MIDI track, like MIDI guitars, and she's reinterpreted it and it actually sounds like proper guitars now, and I'm just like, wow. So if we can work out how to do that, that might be a way we can write something together, but it's we're just sort of starting out trying to work out how to do things. And then yeah, this past week or couple weeks, with all the psychology stuff I've had going on, I just haven't had the mental energy to really sit down and figure out what the next step is. So I might try and do that this week. But yeah, I gotta warn you, if you're gonna watch more of my videos, they are all over the place. And yeah, so like, you know, the music stuff is one thing. I haven't done any music videos for a while, but I'm gonna try. I've got a list of stuff somewhere. I think I rewrote my list of things that I want to get done. But also, some of my song choices I'm sort of rethinking because, you know, maybe I'm not quite at the standard that I want to be. Although, I do try and think of my covers as like a work in progress. So if I film one now, then in 5 years' time I can do another version of it and see how much I've improved. So that's the thing. Like I've got ADHD. Oh, well, that works out well. Yeah, so, you know, got the music, got some fashion videos from a while back. My next 3 videos all have something to do with fashion, so I'm getting away from the mental health stuff. So I've been talking a lot about my mental health lately, which, you know, it's difficult, and I'm trying to just, I don't know where my life is going, you know, it's already been so chaotic, just trying to figure out my stuff and figure out, I don't even know what I like. You know, like music, I got into music from a weird place, and now I'm like, do I still like it? It doesn't have the same impact on me, I think. Although maybe that's because I need to find new music, and it's hard to find new music that I like, because there's so much out there these days. I don't like Spotify because of their business model, but also when I sit down to listen to Spotify, it's just so random that everything kind of sounds the same, and so it's hard for me to pick out the ones that, like, actually make me get interested. And I think also I need to listen to a song a few times to really get into it, whereas Spotify will just chuck all this random stuff at you and I can't, it's too much for me to really get into it. I like to sing along to music, so if I can't learn it enough, oh my god, here comes some noise. I guess this is the moment I can have a drink. Yeah, see, Mum closes the door a bit, and then Hope comes back in. Hey, Hopey! What you doing? Oh, dear. He's been so needy lately. As for those of you who don't know, Marley, his Labrador friend, got lung cancer and isn't with us anymore, so I think you have been a bit lonely, haven't you, kiddo? And then he's obsessed with a certain toy, and the thing is, like, when I try and play with him, there's a video, actually, I did a vlog while I was trying to play with him, and he just doesn't give the ball back to me, and, but then if I don't pay enough attention, he gets all like this. Ooh. Ooh. I feel the same. My dream is to be on stage in a band, but there's so many things you can do in life that there's too much. Yeah, you're so cute. Come out from behind the chat screen, babe. Huh? Everyone wants to see your face from behind the chat screen. He's really trying. He's really trying to understand me. He has anxiety pretty bad. He's, like, you know, from the moment we got him, he's a different sort of dog. But he tries to listen to everything I'm saying and understand and pick up keywords. Don't you, Hopi? Yeah? My dog did the same thing. Oh? Oh, really? You have something to say? You wanna come and say something to the camera? There's people watching you, babe. You got something to say? His little head tilt. I don't know if you can see behind the chat window. Oh dear. Up, 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 up. Come here. Come here. You're very obedient, aren't you? Hmm? Come here. Come here, come here. No, you gotta run away. Opie, why don't you get a toy? Where is it? Oh dear. Yeah, no, I think he's a bit lonely, which is interesting because he was kind of a dick to Marley, you know, nipping at him and getting jealous and all that, playing top dog. But yeah, I think he does kind of miss the company. And so he's, you know, becoming more needy around us and, you know, wants constant attention. But yeah, no, so you can watch that video. I guess I can link you... Oh, where is it? I could link you the video where I'm playing with him. Where is it? Yeah, Hope and his Red Bull. Get shareable link. I will chuck it here. So, Hope, vlog, paste, send. My dog Kevin is in the same boat since we lost his brother at the start of the... Oh. Yeah, no, it's so tough. And so this is one of the things that, you know, I talked to my friend about the dissociation stuff, and she's studying psychology, clinical psychology, and she's also known me, like, she was actually the bass player in my band, so she's known me, like, since that time, and seen some of the phases I've gone through. So, like, there's band me, and then very badly depressed me, and then recovering me, and when I first started having that other part of myself sort of coming back into my mind and starting to be distracting again, I think she's the first person I told about it, and the first person in my real life that I've told about it since maybe the last guy I dated even. So yeah, that was really hard, but she was really supportive, and like, you know, so she's known me for a number of years through different phases of my life and seen stuff. And after I saw the dissociation specialist, you know, the day after we hung out and we were talking about this kind of stuff, and I think I mentioned about, like, after we took Marley to the vet and, you know, the whole euthanasia process, watching him go from, like, breathing to not, I think I had a really strong derealization experience because, you know, I've described in other videos, like, how he just sort of seemed like a teddy all of a sudden, and, you know, it just messed with my idea of life and living things and, you know, the process of death and all this kind of stuff. You know, we're all just meat puppets, and now we're moving, next we won't. But when I came home and Hope was, you know, I was patting him, I just had this experience that I was expecting him to also turn into a teddy, and he looks even more like a teddy. So I was just expecting him to suddenly stop moving. Like, it was hard for me to keep seeing him as a living thing. I was just, or like a real, I don't know, I was having some kind of weird experience there, and I was talking to my friend about, you know, I thought that was some kind of derealization or dissociation type thing, like maybe that was a way that my brain was coping with the death, you know, by just making it into something that's not real, then I don't have to feel as emotionally devastated by it, because I think I coped reasonably well, but I do see the signs that I was actually quite upset. And in the lead up to that, I had invited her over to, like, have one last play with Marley, and, you know, and when I was talking to her after the dissociation specialist, she was saying that, yeah, she actually does think, at the time, she could see that I was dissociating, but she didn't want to say anything about it because she was worried if she did, then, you know, she saw it as a way that I was coping, and so better not to tell me that I'm doing that, because it was helping me get through the experience, especially, you know, with my brother Dave, so not the disabled one, the other one, he's been out of, like, you know, been away from the house a lot more lately, and so in those last days I was much more involved in Marley's, you know, end-of-life care, and that, I think, was much more difficult than I was aware of. Like, you know, I was coping with it, but I think I must have had some kind of disconnection to be able to get through it, you know, because I was aware of being upset, but I don't think I realized how upset I was. So, yeah, she noticed that I had been dissociating. I don't know what tipped her off, but I guess, because, you know, like, I don't know how I present on camera is different to how I present in real life, and, you know, in the friendship context as well. So I don't know what it is that she saw, but she could tell that I was dissociating, decided not to tell me about it because she figured I needed to be able to cope. And yes, it's only after the dissociation specialist and talking to her about it and saying, like, I had this experience after euthanizing him, and then she's like, yeah, I could tell that you were going through all this, and I'm just like, wow. I didn't realize. So that was kind of an interesting thing to find out, I guess, that she could see that in me. Yeah, but I think that's just sort of the more, like, emotional dissociation or something like that. I don't know if there's a particular term for that, because I know there's, like, what, derealization, depersonalization, the identity stuff, the fugue thing, and the amnesia. But I've heard of, like, where does emotional detachment dissociation kind of fit into there? I'm not really sure how that is. And actually, there is a thing I might have to bring up. Oh, what's the easiest place to find it? Probably Wikipedia, because it just collects everything. But, so, you know, in that video yesterday, I talked about, who is the guy? Millen, maybe? Millen subtypes, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So in the video yesterday, towards the end, I was speculating whether, instead of saying that I have a dissociative disorder, what if we take my existing personality disorder and then tack on dissociation to that? So schizoid personality disorder with dissociative features. And I actually, there is in Millen subtypes, depersonalized schizoid is a thing. I don't know if that quite explains. Oh my god, what are the neighbors doing? There's like some rattling. Yeah, I don't know if that really describes all the different things, but I think that's the main place that I've seen dissociation referenced in terms of schizoid. Like, what if I dissociation? Yeah, there's not really a lot for schizoid. I think that's the only place that I've seen it is in Millen subtypes. But at least, you know, there is something there. It says including schizotypal features. Interesting. But yeah, there's some other stuff that I feel like I could fit in as well, you know, across a few of those subtypes. I suppose also depending on how I'm doing at the time. Yeah, it's a shame that there's not more research on schizoid, but I guess that's just how we are. We don't really turn up for research. I'm a little bit odd in that I do want to figure out my issues, or at least some part of me wants to figure out my issues, and maybe that's... I wonder a little bit if the particular combination of issues I have might be the reason why I can be more covert schizoid and learned to act more expressive and come out of the shell a bit more. There's still a lot that I don't really feel, but I'm able to simulate to some degree, but not in a dishonest way. So maybe I'm tapping into something that, you know, the part of me that does feel stuff, maybe I've learned to tap into that. Because, like, I don't feel like the things I do are dishonest, but I do still feel a sense of disconnection. I don't know if I'm making sense. I'm sorry. Oh, it's just, there's so much to think about, and because there's not enough research into schizoid, it's like, I have to speculate on my own. And that was another thing about Millen's subtypes, is I think that his research... Is it a he or a... I think it's a he. I think that research might be quite old. And I'm not sure that there's anything really new in that, you know, in that area. So, yeah, it's hard for me to figure out without having enough research to look at. I think that's why I'm still annoyed at the ICD-11 for erasing so many personality disorders and just lumping them together. Except for borderline. They still found a reason to have borderline as separate, but everyone else is just generic personality disorder. And I feel like if I'd had generic personality disorder, how would I even Google my specific issues? You know, then I have to do personality disorder with whatever the specific things are, and I just feel it's less useful I don't like that non-direct language. I understand what they're trying to do. I just don't think they thought about some of the more practical aspects of it, but that's me. You know, I'm not an expert sitting on a panel, I'm just someone who actually lives through it, but whatever. I prefer the way the DSM has kept it, and I think the ICD-10 still had it as well. But yeah, and you know, it still bothers me also that they'd erase schizoid along with the other personality disorders, because schizoid does seem to have a relationship to schizophrenia. It is pre-morbid for some people, pre-morbid to schizophrenia. So how can you just lump it in with personality disorder when it quite probably has links to a different spectrum? Like, it's a personality disorder and linked to schizophrenia. I think it's important to keep the name schizoid so that you keep that link, because it can have consequences. Like, what if someone finds out they have schizoid and they are pre-morbid, but they don't know that it's schizoid, and so they don't know about the possibility that it could develop into schizophrenia? Like, you know, why are you trying to make diagnostics less useful to people? Is it just, like, you know, I get it, we can't fit people into perfect boxes, but if we can get close enough, then it makes it easier to come up with answers and look up things, and especially for those of us who aren't deep into the psychological literature, like, we need to be able to look up stuff without having to do a whole degree just to find out one thing, you know? So, yeah. But, you know, some things about the ICD, you know, vibe have felt to me to be a bit more politically correct in terms of motivation, instead of focusing on usefulness and the real consequences of stuff. But I don't know, I might be missing some kind of nuance there. That's just my opinion on how that's all going. Yeah, wow, how did I get onto that rant? I don't even know. Sometimes my brain just, like, takes a tangent and runs with it. 5:45, my gosh, in England, so awesome. Oh, thank you, don't forget that. I'm also going to check out your vids. Have a great rest of the stream and everything, sending out good vibes. Yeah, wow, thanks for joining me so early in the morning. I do not function at that time of day. Sometimes Mikey will wake me up, but lately we've been putting a, what do you call it? A door snake, but it's in the shape of a dog, and yeah, I've been putting that across his door, and 2 nights in a row it seems to have stopped him getting up too early, so I think it's helping to block the light and maybe some of the sounds of my parents leaving for a walk early in the morning. So I'm starting to, hopefully, gonna sleep better. About to go to bed. Oh my god. If I stay up past 1 a.m, I'm in trouble. I'm not a morning person and I'm not a night person. I'm one of those afternoon pigeons, barely functioning at any time of day. Wow, well, sleep well. Sleep is bad, oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm trying to improve my sleep. Oh, high five. Yeah, no, I'm trying to improve my sleep so that, because, you know, sleep is important to mental health, and I think earlier in the year a lot of my problems were to do with him, especially after he had COVID. Like, there were some days he was waking up at 4:30 in the morning, so it's taken a while to shift his sleep patterns and to get my parents involved in helping shift his sleeping patterns, because, you know, things have been... He was going to bed early for such a long time, but he's an adult, you know, he's not a kid, even though he seems like a kid, he's an adult, so, you know... So now he's staying up later, and then putting the door snake there I think is helping. Like, it was fine for a while, but because we're moving into summer and the sun is coming up earlier and earlier, I think it's, yeah, he's sort of reacting to the light a little bit. And the other day, you know, like, I opened the door to tell him to shut up. You know, he's got his computer in there. I said, like, either go back to bed or turn on your computer. But the light was off. He hadn't turned the light on, which is a bit unusual. And he was kind of out of it, and when I turned the light on, he looked really out of it. So I think the third time I went and had words with him, he finally went quiet, and it's quite possible that he just fell asleep at the door. I don't know. I think he was genuinely tired, but because it's his habit to see the light under the door and then start yelling, he just did it. So, you know, maybe he'll get some better sleep himself if we put the door snake and he can't see that extra light. So it's early days. It's only been 2 mornings that he's had that. And yeah, this morning, he didn't wake me up before his carer arrived, so yay, we'll see how things go for the rest of the week. but cross fingers because I need my sleep so badly, especially last night, because I was spiraling. I went to bed about midnight, which is, pretty good for me, pretty average for me. But I couldn't sleep. I was up, I thought I had fallen asleep, and I thought hours had passed, but only half an hour had passed, and I woke up, and I was just like, what? And then, I woke up again thinking not much time had passed, but actually a few hours had passed, and it was almost 4 o'clock in the morning. I think just because my brain, being in one of those stress spirals, having more sleep disturbances because of that. So yeah, not having him wake up at 5:30 was good today. But he woke me up at 6:20 instead. Then I was able to get a bit more sleep. But yeah, it's just... sleep's important, guys! Anyway, gosh. So, wow, was I going on a tangent before that I should pick the thread back up on? I don't remember what I've already talked about. Oh, I get so distracted with all the, all the chat messages. I forget what I was talking about. So if there was something I was about to talk about and didn't quite get to, chuck it in the chat and I'll pick it back up again. Gosh. So what's happening tomorrow? I'm working. I didn't work last week because, I'm glad I didn't work because last week was so busy because, I had to go and see the doctor and get the referral, stuff all sorted out for the specialist. I also had to go back to the dentist to get my retainer adjusted. That's all good now. Tuesday I had the day off, thank God. Wednesday saw the dissociation specialist, and it's not near my house. I had to go on a little bit of an adventure. And then Thursday I was hanging out with my friend, my psychology friend. Friday, I'm trying to remember what I did. I think Friday I went somewhere with Mum. Did we go to lunch? I think we went to lunch. Saturday I was at the studio, and then yesterday I was cleaning, because I usually clean on a Sunday. If I don't have these kinds of routines, everything just falls into chaos. I realized I need those kinds of routines. And then today's Monday. What else? Oh, I did heaps of plants yesterday as well. Gosh, I don't even know. I've had it on my to-do list for a while, but yeah, I planted 3 different types of tomatoes, some more basil, some parsley, some tree seeds as well. So maples, which I think won't work. I think the seeds are dead, but it's worth trying anyway. Jacaranda, and I think also bottle brush, but I didn't check my seed raising mix, and it might have some built-in fertilizer. And if it's the wrong kind of fertilizer for Australian native plants, they might not be happy. But I've still got heaps of seeds of that. So, yeah, I'll try. But yeah, no, it's a bit late in the season, but we've got La Nina still in Sydney, so, it's been really cold. There was a really cold day, so actually, on Tuesday, and then on the Wednesday when I saw the dissociation specialist, it was actually quite cold. Winter temperatures, and I think that gave me a bit of a headache because the sudden swing in temperatures is just, yeah, so, oh man. La Nina is just crazy. I mean, I don't like the really hot summer, but I also don't like this crazy mood swing weather where it's just it's nice and warm one day and then it's freezing cold another day. I realise that as an Australian, when I say freezing cold, and I'm talking about 19 degrees Celsius, some of you will laugh at me, but for Sydney, that's pretty cold. That's like winter weather. What the heck? This winter, though, we actually got down to 16 degrees as a maximum temperature at some points. It was just it was a weird winter. The past few years didn't get that cold. And now I'm talking about cold things. I'm getting cold again. Oh, excuse me. I'm just going to put my Hanten on. This is a Hanten Japanese winter jacket. I've had them for as long as I can remember. If you go to Japan, please buy Hanten because I am nervous that they might stop being made because, you know, even my Japanese family don't seem that keen on them. And I don't want them to stop being made because they're awesome. You know, kimono is overrated. Hunten is where it's at. I love my huntens. It's getting cold up here. Well, yeah, you're Northern Hemisphere, aren't you? I guess most of the world is Northern Hemisphere. Yeah, and I know like places where it snows. You know, when I was in Japan one winter, that's when I got all the like cat hats, and that's when I got my face masks. Oh. I got this in, you know, sort of the December 2017, January 2018, just because, like, it keeps my face warm. And then, of course, when COVID hit, and I'm like, you beauty, I've already got some cool masks. And, you know, now, because the rest of the world has finally started wearing masks, it's a lot easier for me to get interesting masks. So yay, because, you know, they're fun. I know that they're like a lot of Westerners have had trouble adjusting, but I like wearing masks, especially in winter, to keep my face warm. And also the other thing, Japanese winter was really dry, so my face was constantly drying out, and I had to use the face moisturizer every day, which is just too much maintenance for me. I'm not really that great with that kind of stuff, so yeah, it was uncomfortable. Having the mask actually helped stop my face drying out. So I had like the cat hat, the cat mask, and I just looked like a nutcase. I got little cat gloves as well. My Japanese aunt didn't want to stand next to me because I looked so crazy. But it's Japan, right? So, you know, who's gonna hold that against me? Oh dear. Oh, I've got a little bit of a funny feeling in my throat. Maybe it's from all the, you know, crap being thrown around by the wind today. Gosh, yeah, I took Hopi out, but it was so, like, you know, trying to wear a hood in this weather, it just kept blowing off. I suppose I should have worn something heavier, but I don't know. Oh man. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, okay, what else? So this morning, like, I was feeling pretty down, and I was sort of thinking, like, do I even want to keep doing YouTube every day? Like, I think YouTubing has helped. I don't really know why. But, yeah, no, I was having doubts, and so I'm like, what am I going to do? Videos and blah, blah, blah. But I've got videos filmed for the next 3 days, so I've got time to think about what else am I going to film. I don't really know, though, because, like, I feel like I've gotten to the end of the current stuff that I have to talk about in terms of my psychology. Unless, like, I think of something and, you know, I'll keep a diary of it. But in terms of, like, the events that I know are going to happen and the things that I know I wanted to address, I think I've covered most of the stuff. Sort of depends a bit on my mood. But yeah, I need to do a bit more music stuff, and I've actually got to start doing more plant work. I think I've missed the window for some of the bonsai work I want to do, because there's certain plants that like the cooler weather, and it's getting a bit too close to summer. Might be able to squeeze some things in, but I'm not sure. Yeah. I guess I could film something on Thursday. But yeah, I'm glad that this week is a little bit more chill compared to the last couple weeks. You know, having appointments, because I think the week before, like, I had to see the dentist to get the whole retainer made, and then so last week I had to go back and get it adjusted, and it's just, there's too many things going on. And then yeah, I had, you know, making my shirt, you know, the shirt, my merch shirt. Have we seen the bot turn up in a while? Yeah, that took a bit of time. So, yeah, I think I'm just a little bit, I've been doing so much, and, you know, it's a bit like with the band thing. I did so much work, and I think sometimes I'm not good at knowing when I need to stop and just take a break, or, you know, do a little bit less and not push myself so hard, because, yeah, once I start doing something, I don't know, if I get on a roll, I kind of have to keep rolling, because if I stop, it's very hard to start rolling again. So, yeah, I think also, like, so something that happens to me is, every now and then I'll have a really good day and I'll be really productive and all that, But often the next day I'll crash, and so I try and make the most of the good day while it's still good, because I know it's not going to last. And I think perhaps in some ways I shoot myself in the foot when I'm doing that, because if I'm taking that good day and squeezing everything out of it until there's nothing left, then of course I need the extra recovery the next day. But I guess I just don't trust, like, if I stop early, then I go to sleep and my brain resets, and then I'm not in that good functioning mode anymore. You know, then I've lost those extra hours I could have been productive. That's something frustrating, and I don't remember why I'm talking about that. Why was I talking about that? Something to do with burnout, maybe. Yeah, I guess self-managing, trying to manage my energy levels. I need to get better at it. Oh, man. It's difficult. What time is it? Oh, hello, Hopi. You're back. Hey? Guess who's back? Back again. Hopi's back. Tell a friend. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Oh. He's not impressed with me. He got me! Oh dear, Hopi. Hopi, I'm still live streaming. Aye? Give me another half hour. It's 5 o'clock. I've got another half hour, okay? And then we can play. Oh my god. Because it's been windier, I've only been taking him for shorter walks. So maybe he hasn't let off enough energy. It's just like, yeah, there's so much wind around, it's not comfortable walking around. What? It's like, stop mocking me. Oh. Oh, you tell him. He knows where to sit now. Yeah, he's much better in the frame. Really? Oh, what else would you like to say? Woof. Huh? Oh, really? Tell us how you really feel. Oh. Yeah, would you like to add anything to that? He's giving his opinion, Hope's opinions. Oh. Oh. Hey, yay. I can get him to howl, but... Howl? I don't know. It could get a bit noisy if we howl. He doesn't howl like my previous little dog. He was an expert howler. He'd just keep going and going and going and setting himself off. Oh. What? Oh, poor little babe. Yeah. Oh, he's such a fluffy thing. Yeah, no, he looked after me a lot when I was depressed. So just, you know, with those days where you can't get out of bed. I think this morning I didn't want to get out of bed. But yeah, no, when I was really badly depressed, he'd jump up on the bed and start licking me on, like, you know, once the dog's licking your face, then you kind of have to get up, because it's like, oh, and if you don't get up, he'll get you in the mouth. So, yeah, extra incentive to get up before that happens. Yeah. But he also sort of knows when I'm just not ready, and so he'll sit around my legs and just, you know, be quiet and kind of comforting, I guess. I think I really will struggle when he's not around anymore. Because he's sort of like I guess a connection to life, and he's also my responsibility, and, you know, the subconscious biological maternal instinct that I'm not consciously connected to, that's probably in there somewhere, and so he's filling that gap, and yeah. Also, my parents aren't too keen on getting another pet later, so he might be my last pet for a long time, and that's going to be difficult for me. Maybe he wants out. Good morning. Yeah, hey. No, I just heard him. I could hear the dog door. He's gone out now. But if you mean, like, maybe for a walk, we've already been for one today. I'm a bit tired. We only went for the short walk, though. But, you know, he prefers to go on the short walks. He gets a bit anxious when I take him on the longer route. So sometimes when I let him choose, he always goes the short way. So. But if he really wanted to go out more, he could go with my parents in the morning. But apparently lately he hasn't been doing that. So I wonder if, Yeah, we do. Doggy jaw. I gotta say, I wonder if not having Marley around has made him less motivated to go for walks. Because, like, if Marley was excited to go, maybe that was prompting him to go more. But since he passed away, maybe he just has less interest in that sense, you know, going out as part of the pack. And also, Marley being the only dog that he was comfortable around and being bigger than him, I think he probably felt that Marley could defend him against other dogs or scare off other dogs. He had a really bizarre relationship with him. But yeah, no, it's hard that I don't know exactly what he's thinking because, you know, as a dog he can't really communicate to me. But I think, yeah, he has been a bit sad. So, yeah, after this I think I'll just play throwing the ball with him. Although he'll probably just take the ball and run away. That's what's annoying, is he won't give the ball back to me. So then I start ignoring him and I start doing something else. And then he'll bring the ball to me and be like, hey, play with me. And then I reach for the ball and then he runs away with it before I can do anything. And I'm like, make up your mind. Like, it's so boring if I just have to sit there waiting for you to come to me. So yeah, it's been a little bit annoying in that sense, but he does love that ball. Yeah. Dear, oh dear. He's cute, though. I'm still a little bit distracted by, Luscious Duncan here, the latest subscriber thing. I've been going about 100% less walks since I've no meditation or... Yeah, I guess that's another thing, like, once Hope goes, I'll have less motivation to walk. Although I suppose I could go different places, because the thing about Hope is because he's so anxious, he only wants to go the same route, and he's also not the sort of dog that you can take to the shops. Like, I tried a long time ago to, like, tie him up outside a shop, and he, instead of waiting for me or trying to get to me, he starts trying to pull in the direction of home, which is dangerous, because if he gets out of his, you know, his harness or the lead comes undone or whatever, he could be trying to run through traffic. And there was one time, like, I was walking him at the park and, like, this kid came along with a Labrador and sort of, you know, almost tripped me over because he wasn't controlling where his dog was going. And so I lost Hope's lead, and Hope started running in the same direction as our usual route at the time, and only stopped when people were coming in the opposite direction. He's like, whoa. And that's when I was able to catch him. But I feel like if I hadn't been able to catch him again, he would have tried to run all the way home through the regular route. Interestingly, though, he was running, instead of running towards home, he was trying to complete the rest of the walk. But yeah, no, he has that anxiety, and so I can't trust him to wait anywhere, or sit quietly. And anytime I've tried to sit at the park, he just wants to go home. He just wants to keep moving. So that's a complication in terms of his personality, his anxiety problems. So I guess, you know, when he's not here, I could try and do different things, but it will be hard to have that motivation. And then, like, you know, he does help me get up in the morning sometimes when I really don't want to. Yeah, tricky. He's always been anxious, though. Like I think I've mentioned previously, when we first got him, he was at a rescue shelter, so I believe his mum was like a Maltese or something and was left at the shelter while she was pregnant. It was a no-kill shelter, so yeah, they raised the puppies. I don't know if she survived the childbirth, to be honest, because I didn't meet her. But yeah, so Hope and his brothers and sisters, so, you know, when we went to see them, they were in a little playpen, and all the little puppies, they're up at the edge of the playpen going like, pick me up, pick me up. But Hope was the one who sort of stood back and was like, I'm not sure about this, which straight away is very me, you know. Not going with the crowd, being suspicious of what everyone else is into, not being all social. So he was like that from the start. And, you know, like I had him in mind when I saw the pictures, because to me he was the cutest one. But I was a little bit uncertain at the beginning, I thought, because, you know, if he's too standoffish, that's not good. But when I picked him up, at the time I had synthetic dreads, and he started chewing my dreads, and I was just like, that's too cute. He's my dog. Like, he was like, nom nom, what's this? But yeah, no, he's had anxiety since forever, and I think a big part of that is because he had a hernia when he was younger, and so, you know, he was in pain quite often, and, you know, not being able to know what was causing his pain probably made him anxious. He's also quite intelligent, especially for a little dog. Like I would say, he's more clued on than Marley was. It's interesting, you know, like, because we've had the Labrador little dog combo before, Allie and Max. Some of you have been following me a long time would remember them. And Allie, the Labrador, she was very intelligent, whereas Max, not so much. Yeah, very different dynamic. They were good friends, but Marley and Hope, very different. Marley was a bit of a buffy kind of Labrador, like, you know, those like dumb happy dogs. He was that sort of dumb happy dog stereotype. Very gentle, but a bit uncertain, and so he often copied Hope's behaviours because he wasn't really sure what to do, and Hope was acting as the alpha dog, I guess, and Marley's just happily following along, whatever. So yeah, I think he probably had the potential to figure things out, but just didn't care enough to use his brain in the same way that Allie did, whereas Hope has been the more intelligent one, and I think I'm not really sure about causation, but it definitely correlates with his anxiety, I think. And because he's so anxious about everything, he's paying attention to everything and trying to figure out stuff constantly. When we go for walks, though, he sort of goes into this one-track mind, almost panic mode, like he just wants to get the walk done. Although lately he started sniffing a bit more. Like he usually just focuses on going straight ahead, but lately he's, especially when we're close to the house, he might smell a tree or something. Sounds like me. Yeah, the interesting thing is he likes the idea of leaving the house, but once he's out, and once he's past that first corner, he just wants to get home. Oh dear. He's an odd dog, and I guess that's why he's my dog. Yeah, he's got his own character. And, yeah, so I think the hernia, you know, in the first years. And when we picked him up from the rescue shelter, they said they'd fixed his hernia, but it clearly wasn't fixed properly because he kept having those issues. And at one point, eventually, he just had to have surgery to get it fixed properly by my local vet, his usual vet. And they did a good job because he never had the problem again. But he's also always had stomach problems, and I'm not sure if that's caused by his anxiety or something else. Although his stomach issues are a lot better now. We've got him on daily probiotics, and we've been a bit more strict about his diet, and I think that's really helped because he hasn't thrown up in a long time, and he hasn't had too many issues. He's really, you know, he's had embarrassing boy problems, but since I started trimming all his bits, he's been fine. You know, the hair can't get stuck, and dear oh dear. Yeah, I've never had a dog with so many issues. I mean, part of that would be that I'm paying more attention, you know, especially like with the first two dogs. I was still in school when we got them, so, you know, whereas now I have more time to focus on what's going on. But even taking that into account, never had a dog with this many issues throughout his lifetime. Like towards the end of a dog's life, that's when things pop up more, but this is throughout his lifetime. He's had a lot of vet visits, so they know him well now as well. And, you know, some of his behaviour while he's in hospital and all that, he sucks up to everyone. But yeah, thankfully he hasn't had an incident in a long while. Cross fingers, touch wood, all the superstitious things that don't really mean anything, but you get what I'm, you know, hoping for. But also, he's 10 years old now, and, yeah, he's sort of at that age, you know. I think Max probably lived to about 10 at the most. Allie, I think, 11. Oh, when did we get her? Yeah, I think she was about 11. And then Marley, we don't know how old Marley was, but he was maybe at least 10 years old. So Hope's sort of at that period of time that makes me anxious. He's very healthy at the moment, very happy at the moment, and also he's a little dog, so he's got that going for him, and he's a crossbreed, he's a mixed breed, so that helps. But yeah, I'm just sort of, in the next few years, I don't know, it depends on what issues crop up, how treatable they are, whether it's worth treating and that. So that is something that I'm trying to mentally prepare, but you know, I was already mentally prepared for Marley, who I wasn't as close to, and I still had that reaction that was bad enough that my friend noticed I was dissociating, which it took me a while to figure out. Might have a few more in him. Kelly was 13 when she started to get so many issues that we had to euthanize it. Yeah, I mean, hopefully, but anything can happen, you know? Like, once they reach 10 years old, that's when things really, you don't know. And especially with something like cancer, like with what, you know, Marley had lung cancer, it sort of accelerated towards the end. So, and, you know, some of these things can come on quite quickly, and you don't know. And, so yeah, it's just something that I have to be prepared for, have to be realistic about. And I guess that's why it's important for me to try and figure out as many of my issues as I can and figure out my coping strategies and what do I do if shit hits the fan and I lose hope. And wow, that was a bit of a pun, unintentional pun. But yeah, no, like, you know, if something happens in the next few years, like, I need to be ready for it and need to know what I'm going to do to try and get through it, because I think I will struggle. And, you know, spiraling last night and not feeling good this morning, there is really that danger. Like, as much as I've been doing better lately, it's very quick for me to deteriorate in terms of, like, all the depression stuff. Yeah, so that's, like, even if I seem like I'm doing fine, I think that's just a constant thing I have to be aware of. Yeah, because it can happen so quickly. And so I wonder also, like, if sometimes I'm just detaching from the depression, and so, like, I'm not actually better, but I'm just detaching from the negative feelings, especially now that I know I do the dissociation stuff. That makes me wonder if that's how I get through stuff sometimes, and just, you know, just my brain refuses to keep feeling the depression even though it's still there, and even though the fundamental issues are all still there. I wonder if that's the thing that happens. Yeah. And then also, I don't know, my brain goes through phases where I'll be interested in certain things for a period of time and then lose interest. And I wonder a bit about YouTube. Like, at the moment, it seems to have been helpful to do vlogs every day. But what if that's just a temporary phase that I'm in? And then, because, you know, earlier in the year I was in more of the visual arts phase, and then that faded out, and now I'm in the YouTube phase, and then maybe after that I'll go back into the music phase or something else, you know. I keep, maybe the gardening one, seeing as it's summer and I need to do more of that work. You know, I can't seem to hold on to interests, like, consistently. I have to keep cycling through them. Which is frustrating, because, like, if I just sat down and stuck to one thing and got good enough at it, maybe I could do something with that in my life. But instead I'm just constantly cycling between different interests. And sometimes they can cross over. Other times it's just like I can only do the one thing until my brain moves on again. And I don't have any capacity to control it. If I'm not feeling something, I just can't get into it. So yeah, frustrating stuff. And so I guess with the daily YouTubing, I need to also consider, like at the moment it's helping, and it's helping me know what I'm doing, like, you know, have some goals every day. But if my brain really wants to move on to something else, I think I have to just accept that and maybe take a break from daily vlogging for a bit, until my brain's ready to do it again. It's really hard to figure out all this stuff though, like, how do I manage myself and the way that my brain works? I don't know if you can hear Mikey carrying on in the background, he's so noisy. Oh gosh, wow, is it already 5:18? Okay, so I've got 12 more minutes. So yeah, if anyone's watching who has a particular question, now's the chance to, like, jump in with it. Otherwise, he's having a party. Yeah, he's probably watching stuff on YouTube and just going, hey, he likes to watch trains. And so now I know what a lot of the local trains, like the different train models are. And I'm just like, my brain doesn't need to know this. He likes looking at, like, Luna Park stuff. He likes looking at cooking stuff. Like, there's this guy called Huey who used to be on the TV, and yeah, he's found YouTube videos of that guy cooking. He also watches like random, like there's this Korean channel that does cooking, and then there was another one where like this guy's just making, like cooking stuff on the barbecue or something. I just don't even know how he got onto that. And then he watches like McDonald's ASMR. I think he watches it for the McDonald's, but yeah, it's gross. And I'm just like, I'm not watching that with you. Oh my god. So I don't know what he's watching right now, but yeah, he gets quite into it. But yeah, no, now whenever I go on a train, my brain is automatically going, it's a Waratah, or it's a Tangara. And then, you know, they'll do a story on the news, because like Sydney, the trains around here, there've been a lot of strikes between the transport union and the government have been having a, you know, disagreement. And so yeah, the railway in particular, like they've been going on strike and causing a lot of chaos. And so then they'll do a news report about trains, and then there'll be a train on screen, and I'll be sitting there going, it's a Millennium train, and my whole family's like, you fucking nerd. But they all know it too, although I've been sort of teaching them, like, especially I was teaching Dave what the difference is, and he's like, oh, why is this in my head? So it's like, you know, S sets and Tangara T sets, Waratah A and B sets, Oscar is H set. I'm just like, why brain? Why do we need to know this stuff? At least when I was absorbing random Pokemon stuff, I was actually playing the game, but I have no interest in trains, you know? Yeah. I've heard that there's the new Pokemon as well. I only know because I was out with my friend and we went into a EB Games shop. I was looking at gifty stuff, you know, because sometimes they have like an interesting shirt, or I don't know, I've got too many shirts, but I get curious anyway, and I was looking at a whole bunch of the stuff there. They had some interesting lamps. I still haven't fixed my other lamp, by the way. But yeah, no, and then I was just like looking at, I think, the Pokemon section, and the guy who, like one of the sales guys comes along, and I think he must be on the spectrum or similar, like, you know, some kind of condition, because he was like that sort of annoying, hovering around, wanting to talk about all the different stuff, and yeah, like, you know, kind of, I guess, sweet in their own way, but I just didn't need that level of nerding out. But yeah, he was telling me about the new Pokemon games and how they're like the, I think it was the legendaries, or like, you know, the featured Pokemon on the covers, and they have like a motorbike wheel in the middle, and I'm just like, what the hell? And like, it made me think, I never watched it, but the Yu-Gi-Oh thing, I think Yu-Gi-Oh had like a motorbike thing in, like, were they playing cards on motorbikes? I don't even know, I never watched it, but it just made me think of that, and like, why motorbikes? And he said the one that actually has a wheel that looks like a wheel doesn't use the wheel, it just like runs around, and I'm going, okay. Pokemon has gone so far off whatever I remember. I can't keep up. I lost track of it a long time ago, so I have no interest in playing it, but I'm just like, yeah, wow. I'm so old. Yeah, I don't know. The last Pokemon games I played was Pokemon Black, and I don't think I ever finished it. I just got bored with it, and, you know, things that have changed, I guess, and, you know, a lot of the Pokemon designs suck now, or sucked then. I don't know what they're like now, because I haven't even looked at it, but, yeah, I just didn't like that. And then they changed game mechanics, like, so now when you're walking around, the poison damage stops at like 1 HP, so you don't really have any urgency to get to a Pokemon Center. And I feel like that takes away one of those, like, experiences we had back on the Game Boy, where it's like, oh shit, this is my last Pokemon, and it has poison damage. Can I get back to the Pokemon Center in time before it dies? Like, that used to be a real, like, adrenaline kind of moment, and now it's like, shit, eh? And then with TMs, they don't run out anymore, or they stopped running out, whereas previously you could only use them once, and so I'd sort of hoard them a bit. I can kind of understand with that, because, like, as like there's so many Pokemon, like back then 150 Pokemon and then 250, there's not too many Pokemon you want to use a particular TM on. So I guess I can understand making them reusable when you've got however many gazillion there are now. But that was just one more thing that felt like less planning. Although I never really got into the real nerd side of Pokemon where like fighting certain Pokemon will give them, is it EVs or something, where they get, like, depending on what Pokemon they fight, they get more speed or more strength or whatever. I never got that deeply into it. I never got into the whole breeding thing. So I know there was an even deeper nerd side of it all. That's too much for me. But yeah, just like, I think what bothered me was making things too easy. And like all the gyms, the gym bosses were lower levels than what they used to be, or seemed like that. Like it seemed a lot easier to beat all the gyms. Yeah, and then, like, Pokemon, Nintendo should know that a huge amount of their audience are older. Like, those of us who were playing it when we were kids, we still wanted to play Pokemon, so why not release something that's a bit more mature in a way? I don't know. Instead of dumbing it down more and more and more and more. Also, I think Pokemon Black and White, isn't that where they had the whole, like, animal rights parallel thing going on? And it was really weird and really hard for me to understand what message they were sending. Like, they were trying to make out that these guys were the bad guys, but the way it was done was very strange. And I think, trying to throw in some politically correct stuff in there maybe got a bit weird, or I don't know, whatever they were going after. Like, I guess maybe that was their attempt to get some more complexity in there. Like, are these good guys or bad guys? But I didn't feel like it was done very well, and I don't know, it was a while ago, I don't remember. I'd never finished the game anyway, so maybe they explained it, but yeah, I was just a bit underwhelmed with Pokemon Black. Clearly, if I didn't finish it, so, yeah. How did I get onto a Pokemon rant now? Oh, it's funny how my brain's just jumping from topic to topic. I think I was talking about trains and stuff that's stuck in my brain that, like, for no particular reason. Yeah, that's how I got there. Right. Oh, man. It reminds me of, so when I first left high school and went to uni, PC always tend to ruin stuff. Got a shower before heading out. Not often I manage to catch a stream. And you're always on here at 3 a.m. Have a good day. Yeah, sorry. I might try and, like, do a live stream at a different time of day. It just depends on what I've got going on. So I should try and mix it around for different people. But yeah, thanks for dropping in. I'm not going to go for any much longer anyway. I'll try and finish around 5:30. So I've got another 4 or 5 minutes. But yeah, so just to finish up the Pokemon thing, it reminds me of when I left school and first went to university, and I was doing a very general degree because I didn't know what I wanted to do anymore. Like in high school, I had sort of thought, like, maybe I want to do mechatronic engineering. I did eventually get into that degree, but didn't last long because it just wasn't actually what I wanted. Oh, it was so slow and so boring. I was just like, why am I here? Get to the good shit already. I think my priorities also just didn't match. But anyway, no, when I was early in high school, I thought I wanted to go into robotics, but then I realized we're nowhere near the level of AI that I'm interested in, blah, 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 blah. Then, I looked at, like, computer-based things like graphic design, did a, work experience graphic design things, like, shit, I think I also looked at psychology for a bit, but, I wasn't really sure, and, whatever. So I ended up, because I didn't know what I wanted to do, the first degree I had a go at was a combined degree, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Arts combined degree. So I could just choose a gazillion different subjects and choose what I wanted, and one of the subjects I did was psychology, so I did that for a semester. And as part of that, like when you're in first year, you have to go in studies for extra credit. And there was one thing where we had to fill out a survey, which I think like assesses your personality and other things you're going through. And I got called to do a particular study where I think they were looking for socially awkward people. And when I went in there, they showed me videos of people who'd been in the study before me, or supposedly had. They could have been actors for all I know, because psychology experiments are always trying to screw with you. But it was people on camera talking about something, looking very shy and nervous and all that kind of stuff. And then they got me in front of the camera. And this is before I YouTubed, by the way. They got me in front of the camera and they said, okay, now you've got to give a speech, but it can be on any topic you want. And so, I mean, the way that I am now probably gives you a hint of where it was going. Yes, I hadn't started YouTube at the time, but I was just like, okay, I'll talk about Pokemon. And so I went on a rant about like how the first 2 generations of Pokemon were the best and all the things I didn't like in the 3rd generation, and stuff to do with how, I think I'd probably talk about stuff to do with how the original creator wasn't as involved, and something about the different Pokemon designs. And I was just ranting about all this Pokemon stuff. And then after a while, like, you know, she said I had to do a 2 or 3 minute speech or something, just off the top of my head. She didn't stop me though. So after a while, I'm just like going on this rant about Pokemon and my opinions on it. And then all of a sudden I was just like, should I stop? And she's just sitting there on her chair like... and that was before I started YouTube. Dear, oh dear. Anyway, so we've reached 5:30. So there's still a couple of you watching, so... if you have anything that you want me to address quickly, chuck it into the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap this up and I will choose a song to go out on. We don't need to have screamy times again. What song should we play? I could play a Rainbow Death Ray one. What have we got? What have become? Lost Storm Dead Inside Carousel. Maybe we'll do Carousel. That's a bit of a weird one. Yeah, so I'll give you the Rainbow Death Ray link again. But if no one else is gonna drop me a question, we'll go out. Here's the Rainbow Death Ray EP I'm about to play. And I will see you later. I'm not sure exactly when. I'm not sure exactly when I'll do another live stream, but yeah. I've got to actually start editing those videos because I won't have time tomorrow. I'll be at work. So, yeah, I think that's all I've got then. I will catch you whenever. And yeah, sorry if people who are subscribed for like mental health stuff. For the next few days, it's going to be more fashion and other stuff. And I think I just need to have a few days off and try and figure out what I even think. I feel like so much of what I do, I just do stuff and I don't always know why, and life. I could go on an existential rant, but I'm not going to do it. So yeah, how is the... Okay, you've had plenty of time to drop me other questions. So let's go out on Carousel. This is from the Rainbow Death Ray EP. The theme of it is like, sort of based on Alice in Wonderland. And then, yeah. Bit of a creepy kind of thing. There's some weird things going on in the music, but yeah. Thanks for joining me for another live stream, and the singing will start in a moment.
push aside.